was a good shot. I had good eyesight. And she told me, every time I hear your gun shoot, I start to get fired and getting ready. Because you gonna bring something to the house. And I remember the first time I went out rabbit hunting at night. Didn't know what a rabbit looked like at night. But I saw something that shined real red. And I kept walking towards it, and I got up close to it, a rabbit took off. That's what your eye looks like. That night I brought 6 rabbits in.
Oh boy.
I went, you killed, and I brought them in, me and Papa dressed them. We had breakfast the next morning. But I was a pretty good shot. And when I remember when I was about 12, 14, long in that age, my uncle had an old gun that weighed 11 pounds. One of them old, you pull the hull out like that, a 12-gauge shotgun. Had a 40-inch barrel on it. And this thing, it didn't work, I had to take a cane along with me that would go down the barrel, shove that empty shell out. There was a big old pond close to the house, and them ducks had made a mistake of lighting in that pond. And I'd go down there, it's the wintertime now, cold, I'd get behind that dam and lay that gun on the dam, and I'd wait till I get 2 or 3 heads and pretty good line out there. So a lot of time I get 2 ducks in one shot.
Oh my goodness.
But they wouldn't come to the bank. When them dead, they just lay out there in the water. And they'd get up there and pull my clothes off and swim out there in that cold water, get my ducks and come back, get up behind that dam, put them clothes back on, freeze to death. So wonder I died. But Mama had something to cook.
And I guess you used to get Uncle Henry to go with you sometimes. Y'all take turns being the dog?
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Henry was a delight to grow up with. He was gullible. I could talk him into anything. And he could go underwater and stay longer than I thought he drowned at one time. I believe he stayed under there 2 minutes. He never did come up. And after a while he come up. He said, "You didn't come get me." I said, when I did, I stuck my head up in the mud. So I couldn't get out. But he could hold his breath longer than anybody I ever seen.
Lewis can too.
Henry could. I don't know how he could do it, but.
Is that Branning chest?
Big, what they call
Barrel chested?
Barrel chested, you know.
Yeah, big
and
lungs.
with a dove breasted. That's what the doctor told me. That little piece right here turns up like that. Right there. It ain't there now. They cut it when they did the heart surgery.
Okay.
But it used to curve up right there. Called it dove breasted. Any other subject you want to know anything about, Josh?
What's the best advice you ever got?
Huh?
What's the best advice you ever got?
Keep my mouth shut.
It's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak up and move all down.
That's what I was told. Unless you know what you're talking about and somebody wants to listen, keep your mouth shut. Now, if somebody asks you something and you know the answer, it's okay to tell them. But don't expect them to believe you. They'll go search and find out their own way. But like Lewis said, it's best to keep your mouth shut and be thought of dummy than open and remove all doubt.
That and the one about the Lord gave you 2 eyes and 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason.
Yep.
Now what about the kids you raised? What about all the kids you raised?
Lord, I have been around a lot of young people. I used to help coach American League, Little League, stuff like that. And that was, you learn a lot. And I had a bunch of children, starting with Mac, and then when Ruby and I married, she had 3, Barbara, Robert, and Johnny. And then Sherry and the Lewis came along in our family. And I learned, one of them, I had to really listen when he talked. Because he took me literally in anything I said. I'm busy one day splitting wood. And somebody yell behind me. I said, yeah, it's all right. After a while, we looked around and couldn't find him. He was gone. And I asked one of the other kids, I said, where did Lewis go? Oh, he went to the store. He told you he was going. And he wasn't even school age, and he was 2 miles from home when I caught up with him walking to the store.
Well, I asked, and you told me, yeah.
You remember that?
I still remember you whooping me for telling me to do something, and I did it. When we lived on Dow River Street.
Yeah.
You moved the hook and eye on the screen door. And,
Yeah.
And
he would unhook the door and get outside, and he would head straight for that street. So I took the hook and raised it and put the hooks back in and hooked the door. I said, now you can't reach that thing and get out. And he laughed. In a minute, he come back through the house just a grinning with a broom, reached up and undone that hook and out that door he went.
but you got to remember, the way you said it to me was, now let me see you open it.
He figured out a way to open it.
And I was 3 when we moved from there. So I'm not sure exactly how old I was, but I hadn't forgot that. You told me to do something, when I did it, I got a spanking.
But you had to watch him and listen to what he said, because he took you literally. He would ask. But then he would, you better listen to what he said, because he'd do it.
Yeah.
Ruby brought one of the grandkids to spend a month, I believe, was with us. And that boy got me down. He didn't listen to nobody. He would do what he wanted to do. I don't forget how old he was. I had a 27-inch bike, and I told him, I said, don't try to ride that bike. It's too big for you. You'll hurt yourself for sure. Ride your grandma's bike if you want to ride up and down the road. And one day I looked around, my bicycle was gone. And he didn't come back. I got to hunt him. And I found him. I got up to a bridge above the house up there. At the old concrete bridge up there.
Mm.
And I kept calling him. And after a while I heard him say, get me out from under him. These mosquitoes eating me up. He rode that bicycle off of that bridge down in that ditch up there. The bicycle bent it, warped it. You know who that was?
Yeah, it's Little Mac.
No, it's Jeff.
No, Jeff? I thought
Jeff.
that was Little Mac.
That was
No.
Robert's boy, Jeff. And I think he's been in prison ever since he got gone.
Well, he got out long enough to, while his mom was at work, to sell all of her furniture and clothes.
Ruby had one brother, he and his wife went on vacation out in Las Vegas. And he come back home, the daughter done sold the whole house furniture, it was empty. Now that was a joke, but she had that money and gone.
Yeah, that's Uncle
You remember
Bill.
that?
That's Uncle Bill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lord, Lord.
You didn't know things like that happened in that family, did you?
No. I remember Jeff. I remember y'all talking about Jeff.
I think he's in prison now. He's what that's called a habitual thief. The first thing he stole, Dave, I think he's 16, was a motorcycle.
He wasn't even that old, Daddy. He's like 12 years old.
I know.
Whenever he stole that, tried to steal that mini bike.
Yeah. He got that four-wheeler from Lawrence Bill up there. Remember them kids went up there and got it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
But
like 12
the
years
first thing
old.
they put him in prison for was that motorcycle.
But he was like 12 years old, and there was a place that had mini bikes and go-karts and stuff, had a mini bike had chain through the tires, through the wheels, and he picks it up and tries to run off with it. It wasn't very bright. Hey, Madison.
Hey, you ain't fixing to go, are you, baby? That boy loves you. Tell Uncle Lewis bye-bye.
Did you get Pumpkin? Cinderella's little dog?
Yeah, she got you the present. She come got it out of the tree and opened it up.
Well, that
You
was from
remember that?
us.
Tell them about the little cat that you got. What's her name? Miss Kitty. A solid white toy cat.
Uh-huh.
That's Miss Kitty.
Uh-huh.
That's Josh over yonder.
That's
your
my son.
That's your cousin. You didn't know that? Yeah, that's your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
You know ain't Cheryl now.
Yeah, you know me. She looks just like Leanne.
Yeah. And she just talks way too much, doesn't she? Oh.
Yeah, me and her talk a lot. I tell her all this stuff and I ain't supposed to.
Is that like me teaching all the kids to teach their tongue out? Sherry fusses at me to this day.
But there was one boy I raised down there that, like you come along, I thought a lot of that boy. I taught him to work. You remember Andy?
Mm.
And he would get so angry because he would see me split wood just as easy, you know. I wasn't trying to kill it. It was holding, you know. And he'd beat it to death and it still wouldn't split. And I had to get him down and show him how the grains run in wood to where you hit and the wood would pop open, you know. And he learned how to split wood, and he was grown, and he would come back down and say, Papa, he got in the wood and he split. He loved to split wood.